This is Computer Science Discoveries. We're in Unit 3, Animation and Games, and this is continuing on in Lesson 9 from about level number 8 and beyond. So when you get to these diamond shapes, I want to caution you from just bypassing them completely. They've got some good information there, and to summarize and see some things. It's also a good example to look at some code that they have in here and see how it works. For example, what we've encountered in the first part of 9 is now you notice in your toolbox, in the math applications, now you've got more than just random number. This is what creates these smooth movements like these animals sliding smoothly across the screen. A reminder or to notice, set up your variable or assign your variable and set the animation right away. And then keep those up outside the draw loop usually, so that then just inside the draw loop, usually you have your background. You need that to get redrawn each time so you don't get that ghosting effect of your sprites as they move. And then I like that they put these comments in here to break up your code. It helps you if you're having some trouble. So start getting in the habit perhaps of using those, especially as we create bigger and bigger and bigger things. Notice down here, they give you some examples of different uses of a counter pattern, things you may not have thought about utilizing before. For example, they've got some continuous rotation. A little bit isn't showing up there, but they've got a minus in there. Scaling and using that, and then it will look like either it's enlarging or you could use it the other way as shrinking. And then on a simple shape like this ellipse, where they've utilized the counters in the width and the height to make it look like it's continuously morphing shape. Kind of cool. All right, let's move on into this first level of the second half of 9. Now, this one is one of these where you have to make a prediction just by looking at the code and what you think is going to happen. So look through here. They set a variable called Pane. And what they're doing is having the pan rotate with a counter or adding 1. So write in here what you think is going to happen. Now, what you can't see right now on my screen, but you should see on yours, all of a sudden in the debug console, you should see these things called watchers. So after you make your prediction, run the program, and then pay attention to that lower right corner and start utilizing that thing called the watchers. In level number 10, here's what they're asking you to do. They want you to debug by watching the counter pattern. All right. Now, in here, this motorcycle, X and Y positions are being utilized to add this counter pattern. And when you hit run, you'll see, oh my gosh, I don't see very much here. And if you start watching these counter patterns, which ironically I'm kind of hiding from you because I want you to notice what's happening, then I want you to fix, because one of these is moving in the wrong direction. Keep in mind, it might be helpful to put your grid on, and remember that your horizontal, your X property, goes from 0 at the left to 400 at the right. And the Y property starts 0 at the top and increases to 400 at the bottom. Taking a look there and watching the watchers, you can determine what's going wrong there and see how you can fix that. I'm not going to do it for you, but just see what you can figure out. All right, 11. I am going to ask to check this one with you. Here's what's happening, okay? In these instructions, it says, make all 3 of these fish move as in this picture to the right. The blue fish should move the fastest. The green fish should move the slowest. Right now, the only thing that's happening is our orange fish, okay? The orange fish is moving across the screen this way at this pace or this rate. So what you need to do is now come into your toolbox. You've got to add some more things under here so that we can get the blue fish, and it said blue fish should move fastest. So as you go to set that X property for that guy, and let me move right there, bluefish, and they make sure you pay attention how they name their variables. They're using camel case. The other one is what? And the green fish should move the slowest. So this one, you're going to have to make green fish. Okay, get your operators here under the math toolbox. Oh, wait. Adding is going to make things move from the left to the right. Notice these fish are going the other way. All right. Now, again, you have to grab these commands for the X operators. And again, make sure you name them consistently. This one is for the green fish. And now think about how you can play around with the values here to make sure that the blue fish moves fastest and the green fish moves slowest. Play around with those numbers compared to the orange fish. And once you have that done, make sure you hit finish and move on. I will be checking those with you to enter in the grade book. Oh, I love this one. With the gears, okay? Right now, notice these guys are statically sitting there in a position. They've added a draw loop for you, but only with the background, okay? Now, read through here and it says, when you use the counter pattern for rotation, the object will always rotate clockwise, okay? Somehow you want it to rotate counterclockwise, and addition makes it turn clockwise. So look at the red one. The red one is spinning in this direction to the right and around. That's clockwise. So red one, addition. Green one, rotating clockwise, addition. Is that purple or blue on your screen? Okay. I guess they're calling it blue. That one is rotating in the opposite direction. And notice they say there, to do this, just use subtraction. Okay. They're set up. Make sure that they are working as one system, but not in the same direction. So as you get this set up, I'll get one kind of started for you here. Let's get our variables inside this toolbox. Let's grab the rotation. Okay, and let's say start with the red gear. Okay, and notice they're using camel case again. Red gear. Mathematically, I want the red one to go clockwise. They said to me that that's going to be an addition function. Okay, so you're going to put, and I'm going to get me out of here. We're going to put our rotation with red gear. And let's say I just simply add 1. Let's test it and see what happens. Sweet. There goes my red one. You're going to set up the other two similarly. Okay, make your blue gear turn counterclockwise, make your green gear turn clockwise, and I'd recommend that they all go at the same speed so that they look as though they are actually working in sync with each other. Notice you've got your watcher pattern down here, and they've got the red one on there, and take a look. It's constantly increasing as you run. When you reset, then it will start over. And remember, this is running right now at 30 frames per second, which is why it looks like it's increasing at a crazy level. All right. When you get done with that one, and again, I'm going to put 11 and 12 in the grade book, it gives you some information about why we look at the debugging with these watchers that show up in the bottom of the screen. Okay. So in this one, they've set up a variable with a simple adding 1 in the watcher. And it says every time the draw loop runs, we're increasing or incrementing by 1, but that changes 30 times a second. That's why it looks like it increases so quickly there. Okay. The watcher pane is down here. That's what they call in 3 right here. So when you see that, notice you can collapse it as well, but you can use that sometimes to notice what is what's happening. Why does it look like something's going wrong? Sometimes you can determine just from watching that. Okay. It says you can add watchers at any time simply by clicking the blue add box down here. Okay. And if your program isn't running or the variable hasn't been assigned yet with a value, it'll show up as undefined until you actually start accumulating values there. All right. Now, the last part. Your level 14 is going to describe to you about starting from scratch and making a new animation of your own. Okay. Consider building on static images you made in the past or come up with a new one. I'm challenging you to come up with a new one and get a whole bunch of sprites defined in there. Okay. Get your scene set up, create your sprites, assign your images, and set up the draw loop as to draw the background for your sprites. So get everything in there, grab a draw loop, and just put in your background. Okay. That is if it's a color. When you get that done, then here's what I want to see. They are recommending that you add some movement. I'm going to tell you, I want to see at least, I want to say at least 3 things and 2 different kinds. So just to give you an idea, here's what I did. Okay. I've got my background of a hockey rink. I've got my hockey player that's going across the screen, and I've got some logos that are spinning. That's the kind of thing I want to see to jazz yours up. Okay. Work on this for a while because I want you to start developing higher and higher quality actions and movements in your projects. Okay. When you think you've got it done, submit. I'll go through it with you and check your criteria and go from there. Good luck and happy coding.